Hello guys, how are you today? Happy Wellness Wednesday, okay? So today I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about mature women and dehydration and five things that can actually cause dehydration that you can kind of watch. So you're gonna get those goodies. We're gonna talk a little bit about what exactly is dehydration and some things that you should do to kind of prevent things that you can do in your daily schedule to prevent dehydration, okay? So make sure you stay till the very end because I'm gonna have a free little goodie for you. So, okay. So signs of dehydration are pretty normal, right? Most of us know why we get dehydrated. Lack of fluids, our bodies, taking everything. But some of the signs that you may not be aware of, obviously dry mouth is one of them. Dizziness, fatigue, headache, muscle cramps, dry skin, energy level, all of those things. So maybe you weren't familiar with some of those. So those are some major signs of dehydration. Now, obviously, when people get sick with the flu or with a cold, I'm not a physician. I don't claim to be a physician. This is just information that I've gathered. So I'm just sharing it with you and things that have helped, ingredients that have helped. So again, this is just something that has personally worked. I am not a physician. I'm not a doctor. So always consult your physician with anything. So there's 5 top reasons why you're going to see women over 40 typically struggle with dehydration. So the first thing, what's wrong? Okay, sorry, I had a phone call come in, so it clicked me over. So today I'm gonna go over 5 reasons or 5 different things that could typically cause a mature woman over 40 or anybody in particular, but these are typically for women over 40, why they may be experiencing dehydration. So the first one, which is a huge one, because when we're talking about women over 40, we're talking about menopause, pre-menopause. And so you're going to find that women are having that imbalance. And so what's causing that imbalance is estrogen levels, right? Estrogen levels are reducing. So our ability to kind of convert that fluid, it's going to affect that fluid balance, and it's going to cause an increase in dehydration, right? So the biggest thing is hormonal changes, menopause, pre-menopause. That's a pretty much given as to why you're going to probably start seeing some dehydration symptoms. The second one, which actually I didn't even know about. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't realize this is what it really was. And I took some notes on it because I think it's really, really, really important, because I didn't really know much about this. We start to lose our thirst sensation, okay? So obviously we talked about one of the symptoms is dry mouth. Well, women who are typically over 40, mature skin women, they actually start to, with age, their thirst sensation goes away. So for example, your thirst sensation is what, I want to make sure I say this right. So it's like a psychological response that you get to your brain, and it's what sends messages to say, okay, Crystal, you have a dry mouth. Okay, Susie, you have a dry mouth. Okay, I need to get a drink. I need to get a drink. Oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty. And so it's what causes brain regulation, that response. And so that's what's going to help with that concentration. It's going to help with those electrolytes. It's going to help with the blood tissue. It's going to help with your blood volume and your blood pressure. So when that gets reduced, so it's going to decrease that fluid intake because it's not sending that signal. So those particular things, your concentration's reduced, your tissue is reduced, your blood pressure is reduced, your volume is reduced. And so that's why you're going to see a little bit of that dehydration. The third thing, which I talk about all the time with women over 40, is medications. A lot of medications are very drying. Blood pressure medications, diabetic medications, kidney stuff, chronic issues, diabetes, kidney disease, antidepressants, they're very drying. Also, blood pressure medications. Like I personally take a blood pressure medication, not for blood pressure. I take it as a daily for migraine preventative. Yeah. So it can be used for both. But because of that, it makes my mouth really dry, like because it's a blood pressure medication. And so it really causes me to have that dry mouth. Well, what happens is, though that obviously our thirst sensation has gone down. And so when we're taking like those medications for like kidney, for diabetes, for blood pressure, those types of things, as we start to age, because of those particular medications we could be taking, it can affect our urine production, or it can cause fluid loss. And so because of that, we're not getting the adequate amount of hydration that we need, thus causing dehydration, right? So we have hormonal changes, we have thirst sensation, we have medications. Number 4 is bladder function. Now, not necessarily does this have to do with women who are over 40. This can be for women also who have had babies, that kind of thing. And you're going to understand that here in just a second. So women who have babies, or just people who have genetic stuff that have things that are wrong with their bladder. Women can have bladder incontinence after they have kids. It could be a genetic thing. Bladder function can also be affected after 40 or after you have kids. And because of that, women tend to not want to drink as much water, especially if they know they're going to be like out and about. I will be the first one to say that if we're going to be going on a trip, I absolutely hate drinking a lot of water because I don't want to have to worry about stopping. Right? Like it's so bad. It's really bad for our bodies not to go to the bathroom when we need to. It can cause some other health conditions, but it's really important that we continue to. I will be honest, like I hate going to the bathroom at the store or the grocery store or anywhere. I like to use my own bathroom. I like to use my own stuff, but obviously I have to go. When I have to go, I have to go, right? So, women will tend to reduce their water intake so they're not having to go to the restroom as much, right? Thus causing dehydration. So the 4th one is bladder. The 5th one is an active lifestyle. So this not necessarily has to do with mature women too. This can be busy moms. It could be any woman. But we as women really live a very active lifestyle. We have kids, we're trucking them around, we're going to functions, we're going to parties, we're doing our side hustle, we're doing our 9 to 5, we're cleaning the house, we're, running errands, we're basically the CEO of our home, and we're hardly ever able to kind of just stop, right? Sometimes I have to be like, oh my gosh, I need to go use the restroom, right? Like I haven't taken that time to go to the restroom. So I have a lot of times that I make myself remember that I have to go. But because we as women struggle, and maybe you struggle with reminding yourself like, oh my gosh, I have this this huge active lifestyle and I just forget to just go use the restroom because we get so caught up. And if you're like me, maybe you're like, ooh, something shiny, gotta go to the bathroom. Oh wait, I need to go pick that up. Or, oh my gosh, I need to unload the dishwasher. Like we start to do all of these things and we forget what we originally were going to do, right? So the active lifestyle, and we don't put water intake as a high priority on our list, right? It's not a huge priority on our list. So, you know, taking care of the kids, making dinner, doing all these other things are top priority, right? So, it's just, these are just 5 things that are just, these are just 5. I'm sure there's more. And I'm curious, how many of you struggle with any of those? I'm just curious, which one do you struggle with? Do you struggle with hormonal imbalance? Do you struggle with medications? Do you struggle with like bladder? Do you struggle with active lifestyle? Do you struggle with medications, hormonal? Do you think your thirst sensation is gone? I'm just curious while we're going through this, which one you think you are. So make sure you comment below which one you think you are. With some of the research that I did, I saw that 75% of Americans are not getting the adequate recommended USDA amount of water intake that we should. So that's basically saying that only with that statistic, like 22% of people are only drinking let me back up. 75% of people are suffering from dehydration. Only 22% of people are actually getting the recommended amount that the USDA recommends for what you should have water intake wise. So only 22%. And so I don't know anybody who doesn't need to work on their water intake. I, for one, need to. I'm horrible. So even the people that still get that 22%, sometimes it's just not enough, right? Because we have blood plasma. If you've ever heard of plasma before, we have that blood plasma which sends messages to our muscles, our nerves, our hearts, our brains, all that stuff. And so you're going to notice that's where you're going to get the headache, you're going to get that fatigue, dizziness, nausea, and that confusion. That's why they say, like, when you get sick, make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated, because you're going to start to see that confusion, the headache, the nausea. But as women, we kind of don't even realize that we're struggling with that fatigue. We're struggling with those headaches. We're struggling with that confusion. We're struggling with like brain fog, all of those things. We don't really realize that we're struggling with that because it's just something that we kind of just get used to because we have that active lifestyle, right? We're so busy. It's like, I don't even have time to think about that. That's just how I am, or I didn't sleep right, or something of that nature. So a couple of things that I've noticed with my research, some of the things that are really good ingredients to really look for when you're looking at your water intake and looking for things to help naturally. Dextrose is really good because it's a natural sugar. So it's a natural sugar and it helps your body convert glucose faster, okay? So you're probably like, what does that mean? So when you typically go to the hospital and you're being treated for dehydration, or you're being treated for the confusion, the headache, the dizziness, all those things with dehydration, that's what they will typically pump in your IV bag. They put dextrose in it because it's natural, and that's what you're typically going to find. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is just research. I'm not a physician. So that's what you're normally going to find, okay, when they're doing that IV thing. But also glucose is what causes your blood sugar to spike. So that's why when people take like aspartame, maltodextrin, those are artificial sugars. It actually causes your glucose to increase, which then it makes you more hungry. It makes your blood pressure go up. So like when you're pregnant and you have gestational diabetes, you're pricking your finger for your blood sugars, right? Because you want to keep them right level. So when you're eating artificial sugars that are not natural, like dextrose or stevia, it's going to make that glucose go up and down. It's going to make you hungrier. It's going to make your mouth drier. It's going to make all those things. So those are dehydrating to your body as well, right? So that's why you're going to find, like with the Powerades and the Pedialyte and all those other things, those actually have artificial sugars that spike your glucose. So it's this huge misconception. You really want to look for dextrose because it has that natural sugar. The other thing is hyaluronic acid. Now, I'm not telling you to go to the store and buy a bottle of hyaluronic acid and drink it. I am not. I am telling you that right now. I am not telling you to do that. Look for an alternative in like a hydration drink that might have that. The reason why, and I talk about this about my skin all the time, I use hyaluronic acid, the yin yang, when it comes to my skin, because hyaluronic acid is a natural sugar. Hyaluronic acid is already in our bodies. We already have it. However, we lose that as we start to age. That's why we have the sagginess. That's why we have the elasticity, because we're losing that hydration. Hyaluronic acid has, it's like 3 times more than water weight, right? So if you look at a sponge and you were to put a sponge in water, it would, it goes from like this crusty sponge and then it just gets big and it gets soft and it gets squishy, right? That is how hyaluronic acid is to water, right? Your skin and your body and your water and your dehydration, you have this like crusty looking sponge. And as soon as you put it in that water, it just sucks it up. That's what hyaluronic acid does for your skin. It's going to do for your body. It's going to do for energy, focus, all of that stuff. So it not only does hyaluronic acid do good for your body on the outside, it does it good from the inside out too, right? And I'm going to tell you kind of how like I get that. The other thing is baobab fruit powder. It has vitamin B, vitamin B1, B2, B3, and B6, okay? And so B1, 2, and 3 are really good for like your skin, elasticity, all that stuff. But B6 in the baobab flower is really crucial because it helps with hormonal changes, okay? So hormonal changes, again, is, that is what's going to help with that mood regulation, that energy, that focus, all that stuff. But it also helps your body to metabolize carbohydrates, metabolize fats, metabolize proteins, right? So that's why that ingredient is essential, because it has 1, 2, 3, and 6 in it, right? That baobab oil. Plus it's got so many omegas, free radical help, reducing free radical damage with your skin. So again, we have the hyaluronic acid that's working from the inside out. It's basically like a skincare inside out. And we have that baobab fruit powder that's working from the inside out. And so it's going to help with that hormonal balance. Those of you women who are premenopause, menopause, anybody suffering with dehydration is going to benefit. Like pretty much anybody walking on this earth is going to benefit from those ingredients. Those ingredients deliver over 300% more hydrating effects than per glass of H2O water. So those are the 5 things that could potentially be causing your dehydration. The hormonal imbalance, medications, bladder, active lifestyle, and thirst sensation. I went over ingredients such as like baobab oil, hyaluronic acid, dextrose, and how those are going to be beneficial. Now, I really struggle with my water intake. It's really important that we be proactive, and really assess, are we really getting enough water? But if we're getting enough water, is it enough? Because remember, I told you, just because you're getting those 8 glasses of water in doesn't mean that you can't benefit from like adding maybe a baobab oil into your power drink, or adding hyaluronic acid to it, or adding the dextrose, and looking at those ingredients. Again, I don't say go to the counter and buy those things and put them in a drink. You want to make sure that it's regulated. You want to make sure that you're getting it from a reliable source, those things. So I kind of researched, found this mermaid juice. I'm drinking raspberry lemonade or whatever. And it has those ingredients in it. Not only have I noticed that my thirst has gone down, because I do take that blood pressure medication for my migraines. I do take antidepressants for anxiety and depression. And I do take, I am 40, so I struggle with, the dryness, the dry skin, the lack of hydration, all of those things, the lack of hyaluronic acid in my body. People are so B deficient. It's crazy. So not only are those helping me with my dehydration, but it's skincare from the inside out. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, well, I drink enough water. It's not enough. I don't care who you are. It's not enough. So having those ingredients in your drink is not only going to benefit you with your mental concentration, with your mood, with your hormone balance, with your skin, with your wrinkles, your anti-aging, your joints, your bones, your brain function, your heart function, all of those things, right? So like I said, I started drinking that mermaid water. I'm going to offer to the first 2 women who comment below what they struggle with the most. Okay, out of all of these, I'm going to send you a packet of my mermaid juice for you to try and see if you love it as much as I do. So make sure you comment below, and I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope you guys have a great Wellness Wednesday.